A very warm welcome to all of you to Secret Passages Storytelling Circle. This is our batch 53, and the theme for this event is Ubuntu. And our students are very excited to perform their stories. Stories are created, curated, crafted by the tellers, and they're going to be delivering it from the heart. So the course is called The Heart and Craft of Storytelling. So our first storyteller this evening is Bharti Mohan. I request all of you to put your mics muted. Please mute yourself. Over to you, Bharti.
Okay. Hello, everybody. And I'm so excited to see you. You know, something might come out of my mouth and you have to decipher what is it. Palalelio. Yeah. Palelo. Right. Okay. So now let's get started. I'm going to take you to an enchanted land. Far, far away in an enchanted land, there lived a fairy. A fairy named Rashmi. She had two beautiful children. They were two elves. And you know, can you guess what were their names? There was Jenis, and this one was Rupali. So Jenis and Rupali were the beautiful elf children of Rashmi the fairy. So Rashmi wanted her children to grow up into beautiful, kind-hearted fairies. Okay. So every night, like any mother, she would tell them nice bedtime stories to impart values like gratitude, being helpful, being kind, and being loving. All right. So one day she called them and she said, listen, my dear children, I want Janice and I want Rupali, both of you to turn into or to grow up into kind-hearted fairies. So you go and explore the world. And remember to take the message that I'm going to give you in this beautiful pitara and spread it all across the world. Remember, there's a beautiful pink card with a message in it. Okay? So both the elves got very excited. Okay, remember one more thing. Mother said, how would you go there? So I'm going to give you a magic carpet. So Rashmi gave them a magic carpet which she had woven on the loom. Okay? And stepping on the magic carpet, Rupali and Dennis, both of them took the flight. Wish, wash, woo! So they flew far and wide. And then finally, they decided to make a halt.
Storytelling.
Story? So they decided to make a halt in the beautiful town of Timpur. Okay. I think we need to mute the mic. So they made a halt by a tiny cottage in the beautiful town of Timpur. The cottage belonged to a poor old shoemaker called Bhupinder. He lived in that cottage along with his loving and wise wife, Geeta. Both of them lived happily, even though they were very poor. They were poor, honest, and hardworking. So, one day, Bhupinder, like any other day, went to his workshop, cut the leather, and then came back to Geeta. He looked at the food that Geeta was trying to serve. There was hardly anything in the plate, just 2 dry chapatis and some chutney. Bhupinder started sobbing. Now, all this was being witnessed by someone who was trying to take a sneak peek into the cottage. And guess who were they? It was Jenis and Rupali, the 2 elves. So, Bhupinder was feeling very bad. He said, "My dear Geeta, you are such a nice wife. You try to make both ends meet. But I feel very bad because I'm not able to provide for the family. Dry chapati and chutney is all we have to eat. And I'm not even sure whether we will have enough food for us for tomorrow." You know what Geeta told? Geeta said, "Bhupinder, don't worry. हमारा टाइम आएगा. Our stars will also shine. देखना, एक दिन एक बगल में चांद होगा, एक बगल में रोटियां, एक बगल में नींद होगी, एक बगल में लोरियां. रहने को एक घर होगा, खाने को हलवा होगा, बिस्तर कपड़े पंखा सब होगा. अपना टाइम आएगा. Our stars will also shine. Bhupinder started to laugh. And then he started sobbing. He said, "You're so kind, my dear wife." And then Geeta said, "Acha, acha, bahut hua. Let's go off to sleep now." And both of them retired to bed. Next morning, they got up to a surprise. Guess what? The piece of leather that Bhupinder had left on the workstation had transformed, rather turned into a beautiful pair of shoes. Bhupinder kept looking at it with his jaw dropped. He was awestruck at the beauty, elegance, and amazing craftsmanship of the shoe. And he said, "Oh my God, I don't believe this. Who could have made this?" And Geeta said, "Who else could have made? Don't you know? I'm married to the most wonderful craftsman of this town, Tim Timper. So, Mr. Bhupinder is the one who's made this." And she started to clap with joy. And she said, "Palelo, palelo." And she picked up that pair of shoe and placed it in the window, the show window. No sooner than she placed it in the window, a lady came and she started demanding that pair of shoe. And she paid a very handsome amount for that pair of shoe. So both of them looked at each other and they said, "Palelo! Guess what? We made it." Geeta said, "Didn't I tell you?" So this continued for many nights. Now, Bhupinder and Geeta were no more poor. They had become rich and famous, the most well-known and famous shoemakers of the town of Tim Timper. So Bhupinder told Geeta one night, "Listen, my dear, there has to be an angel who is doing all this for us. We must find out." So they made a plan and they hid themselves inside the closet in the workshop and waited for the midnight. At midnight, when the clock struck 12, guess what? They saw the window opened up. Okay, there was a creaking sound at the window and somebody slipped inside. And Rupinder and Geeta could not believe their eyes. They actually saw two tiny elves getting inside the workshop through the window. They came, they danced, they sang, and they started sewing shoes, polishing them, and at dawn, they left. Geeta and Rupinder looked at each other and they said, "Palelo, oh my God." And then Geeta decided, "Listen, my dear Bhupinder, don't you think it's time for us to express our gratitude? Diwali is coming, Diwali is approaching, so I'm going to make nice clothes for Rupali, the elf. I'm going to make her a nice lehenga choli. And I'm going to make nice sherwani and pajama for Jenis. Okay? So Upinder said, "Yes, I think we must do whatever we can. And let's make halwa puri." So the next night, they laid a table with halwa, puri, and new clothes for the elves to come. The elves came at midnight. They slid inside and they saw there was no leather. There was halwa, puri, and other goodies on the table. And there was a beautiful thank you note from Bhupinder and Geeta. So the elves wore the new dresses. Jenis said, "How do I look?" And Rupali said, "Wonderful." And then Rupali went and changed into her lehenga choli and she asked Jenis, "Now tell me, how do I look?" And guess what Jenis would have said? Jenis said, "Palelo." Okay, so they both danced merrily and ate halwa puri and then they left at dawn. Next morning, when Bhupinder and Geeta went to the workshop, they were awestruck. There was a beautiful pink colored note over there that said, "Thank you," and also these magic words. These magic words, UBANTU. And both of them said, "Palelo, Palelo." And both of them kept thinking. And Geeta had an idea. Geeta said, "My dear husband, I have a very wise friend of mine who lives in a neighboring town. Her name is Geetanjali. She's a storyteller. She's very wise and old too. So with her wisdom, she'll be able to tell." She'll be able to tell. Not old. Okay. She's very young. So she'll be able to tell what do these magic words mean. Okay. So both of them, they went and Geeta showed Geetanjali this beautiful pink card. And she said, "Can you please make me understand what is this?" Geetanjali was a wise woman. She said, "Yes, this means Ubuntu." Geeta said, "Ubuntu? What does that mean?" Bhupinder said, "Ubuntu Palelo." She said, "Ubuntu means I am because we are. We are one big family." So that's what is written on this. Bhupinder and Geeta understood the message very clearly. They went back. They opened up a big shoe factory. They called all the people who were poor and needy, gave them employment, gave them jobs, and all the people of this factory lived like one big family. And you know how would they greet each other? Ubuntu, Ubuntu. Okay, so instead of namaste and good morning, they would wish each other Ubuntu. And they practiced Ubuntu in everything. So this was a story by Bharti Mohan. I would say it is I have intertwined so many things. And the title of the story is The Little Pink Card. Okay, thank you.
Wonderful performance and beautiful telling. And best part of your crafting was that you brought all the people in your workshop together. So you included each one of us. That's the true meaning of Ubuntu. So you really worked on the theme. Thank you so much, Bharti, and a lot of joy in the way you were telling, and all your props were fabulous, especially the fairy Rashmi.
Lovely, Bharti. Absolutely awesome.
Awesome, yeah. You set the standards like this. अभी तो हम तो infinity complex हो गए.
First every
मेरा complex हो गया बुरी तरीके से. Solid complex you created.
Bhupinder, I did the impossible. I married you to Geeta. And I transformed Geetanjali into the old woman. Just think about it.
You did a good job, and
I'm proud of you, Bharti.
Thank you. I love you all. Ubuntu.
Very
Thank you, Geetanjali, for all the tips that you gave us. I tried to incorporate whatever I could, and I literally burnt midnight oil. Thank you.
thank you so much. And our next storyteller for the evening is Bhupinder.
Right.
Over to you, Bhupinder.
Yeah, thank you, Geetanjali, and thank you everyone for giving me opportunity. The topic of my story title of my story is Gift of a Bear. And the story goes like this. Once upon a farmer named, his name was Shivraj, lived in a village. Along with his daughter, his name was Moily. Right. And his wife had died long back in an accident. One day Shivraj thought, okay, why can't, I must think about my daughter, and I think she needs a mother. She's so young. So what he did that he married a widow of the village and who also had a daughter.
Yeah, Bhupinder, you're on
Sorry,
mute.
sorry. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't realize that. Is it okay now?
Yes, you went on mute when you said that he married someone from the village.
Okay. So his wife had died long back in an accident, and one day Shivraj thought about about his daughter, and thought that she needs a mother because she's so young. So he married a widow from the same village, and whose name was Kaya, and who also had a daughter called Kaku. Her name was Kaku. So the new mother had a special hatred for the first daughter, that was Moily. And one day Kavya called Shivraj and told him, send your daughter to the forest. The wolves will teach her how to, stitch the cloth. Now this poor fellow had no option but to, bow down to the desire of the Kavya, his wife. And he led her daughter to the forest. There was a big, beautiful hut in the forest under a banyan tree. And he took Molly in the hut and gave a sack of milk, a sack of atta, some sugar, and some milk. And he told her, cook porridge for yourself in the evening when you feel hungry. I will come next week and take you back home. So in the night, Molly, what she did, she lit the stove, she cooked the porridge. Suddenly, she heard a voice. Mick, 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 mick. So there was a little mouse. Choo, 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 he was creating. The mouse cried, pretty girl, give me a little porridge to eat. I am hungry. The daughter said, why little? Why can't you have as much as you want to have? So the mouse ate as much he wanted to have and he left the hut. After some time, a bear came. The bear was really very healthy and said, pretty girl, come with me. Let's play blindsman buff, the game. And the Moily was very scared. He said, she didn't know how to play the game. She was literally trembling. In the meantime, the mouse suddenly crept in and came and said, don't worry, I will tell you how to play the game. And he explained the whole game to her, how the game is to be played. The game started, the girl rang the bell and started running very fast. The bear tried its best, but he could not catch the Moily girl. Soon the bear felt very tired and he fell on the ground and was just gasping. Then the bear praised the little girl. Oh, you are really very sweet and you are very nice. And you play the game so well. So I will give you a couple of horses tomorrow morning and a cart full of jewels. So this was the blessing given by the bear to the girl. She felt very happy, but she was okay with that. And soon the little girl, the bear, and the mouse became very good friends. As the time was passing, they were really having a good time. And then the Moily said, I can't sleep in this hut because I feel so scared in the evening. And nights are really, really intolerable. I just can't bear that, the darkness. Then the bear said, don't worry. I and the mouse are going to protect you. You just need not to worry about anything. So the days were passing slowly and they were passing, they used to tell stories to each other. They used to talk to each other. And in the meantime, the bear was transferring all the knowledge of beekeeping and how to, get into apiculture and how to grow the high quality flowers, the forest flowers, etc. All technology was being passed on to Moily. So she was also learning everything, and suddenly the time came when the next week this Kavya called Shivraj. He said, "Hey man, go back to the forest and bring that girl," because she was so excited that she is going to receive the bones only. By this time, all the animals would have killed Moily, and she's going to bury the bones, and she would be very happy. So once she heard the sound of the cart, she came running. She came running and said, "Oh my God." She was surprised to see that the Moily was getting out of the cart. She was shocked to see that she was also carrying a cart full of jewels. So this was very surprising, but she was very greedy and very jealous of Moily. So Moily also started passing her time. She grew the fields of flowers, and she started getting into apiculture and started growing honey also. In the meantime, one day Kavya called Shivraj and said, "You take my daughter Kaku also to the forest." He says, "Okay, fine, I will take her to the forest." And he takes her to the forest and explains the same thing, gives her some atta, some ghee, some chawal, some dal and milk. Again, she starts living in that particular hut. The mouse comes. Mice says, "I want to have some little porridge." She says, "Sorry, I can't give you any porridge." And she rather threw the spoon on it. This fellow gets very offended and runs away from the hut. After some time, the bear comes and bear says, "Hey, I want to play the blindsman buff with you." She says, "No, you can't play with this game with me." And she actually offended the bear and starts hitting him. Now the bear gets very angry and immediately starts growling and attacks the girl and kills her on the spot. Now that's it. The girl gets died and everything becomes very serious. On the other hand, Kavya says to the man, Shivraj, "You go and bring my daughter back." Now it's 2 days are already there. He goes back to the forest and find the bones only. So he brings the bones of the girl back and says that, "Look, your girl has died." The Kavya feels very disgusted and very sad. After a couple of days, Kavya, out of dismal mood and her depression, she also dies. So that's the all in the end. And when Moily starts growing the flowers in the meantime, she starts living happily because the whole the negative part of her life goes away. So one day she thinks about going back to the forest and paying back to the bear and the mouse. So what she does, she fills the whole honey in a barrel and takes the barrel to the forest, goes back, and she calls the bear and the mouse and she says, if I am living happily, if I got rid of my, this mother who was really cruel to me, it is all because of you. And I have brought this gift of honey to all of you and to all the animals of the jungle so that you can enjoy and live a healthy life. So if I am living a happy life, it is all because of you. And thank you so much. We will keep in touch with each other. And accordingly, all the animals, along with Moily and her father, they live happily and they lead a happy life. So this was the story about this girl who paid in gratitude just because of these animals. She was happy. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I felt I also went on a good long journey in your way of telling the story. It was a journey, and it was kind of scene to scene, and also reaping fruits and then sharing the same. A very beautiful story, and you touched hearts. So we have our next teller for the evening.
Thank you, Bhupinder ji.
Yeah, all of you, would you all please like to say something to the teller?
It was very good, Mr. Bhupinder. It was a very good story with a very good morale.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Message is very clear. Yes, beautiful story.
Thank you. All credit goes to all of you and Geeta, who actually opened up us, and we were able to at least open our vocal cords and tell the story. I have never done it. I'm doing it for the first time.
Yes, that's great.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Very good.
So Rupali is our next teller. Over to you, Rupali.
Hello all, and thank you so much for this opportunity. Okay, so this is a personal story, so there's no name as such for the story. Currently I live in Goregaon, but in 2015 I used to live in Kalyan and my office was in Andheri. So daily I had to commute for 4 hours to and fro. One day, I reached Kalyan station after a tiring journey of 2 hours. I got down at the station, and the only thing on my mind was to reach home. I could only see my home. So while walking on the bridge, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take auto, even if it costs me fortune, but I am gonna take auto. Now, when I was trying to stop auto rickshaws, none entertained me. So I had no option but to take the bus. Now, there was a long queue, but I had no option. So I stood in the queue. I got in the bus. I sat. Now, I was very much tired. So I had to distract myself. So I started listening to songs. So after 20 minutes, I got down at my regular bus stop. Now, the other thing was bothering me was the travel, the walking, as in my house was 15 minutes away from my regular bus stop. So I had to walk for 15 minutes. Now, I was very much irritated. So I just stopped listening to the songs and I started walking. Suddenly, I heard a sound of a dog crying, howling in pain. And I was like, did I hear dog crying? And I started walking fast. I increased my pace of walking. And meanwhile, I saw a group standing near the ground where the sound was coming. I approached them and I asked them, what happened? Did you hear the sound? They were like, one of them said, the pup died. Nothing much. Not a big deal. जाने दो, ये होता रहता है हमेशा करके. And I was startled by the reaction, the statement he made. ये होता रहता है. I ignored them and I followed the sound of the dog. I went into the ground. So it was a ground with green patches on it. And I saw the dog standing, crying, howling in pain. And there I saw a pup lying lifelessly on the ground. Now, dogs don't speak, obviously, but I could, and some say dogs don't cry. But when I saw him, I saw the tears. I saw that he was in distress. He needed some help. And I saw a group who didn't help. So I decided then and there that, okay, the first and foremost thing I need to do is to bury the dog, the pup. I started searching for the tools, but there was none. And when I was doing this, I saw 2 college students approaching me. And they came near me and they asked me, what happened? And I told them, so the pup has died and we need to bury him, but I don't have anything. I don't know what should I do. So one of them said, don't worry, we'll see. We'll go to our place and we'll see if we have something. We'll bring the tools. I said, that'll be great. And they left. Then a man came and he asked the same. I narrated him the same incident. He said, don't worry at all. I have the shovel. I'll bring it at once. And he left. And meanwhile, I was just patting the dog, trying to comfort him. Then the college students came, the man came with the shovel, and we started digging the hole into the ground. And after a while, after digging the hole in the ground, I lifted the lifeless body of a pup, and I knelt to the ground. I kind of showed it to the dog as if, and I told him also that, so this is it, and just you can have a last look at your son or daughter. And he licked the face of the dead puppy, and I placed it onto the ground, and we all covered the dead body with the soil. There was moment of silence. We didn't speak to each other. We don't know why. And somehow in unison, we sat together. We didn't speak to each other. We started petting the dog, comforting him, grieving with him. Somewhere we all could understand his pain, his loss. And after a while, we all got up and started leaving one by one. When I was leaving the ground, I looked back. I saw the dog. He was sitting near the spot where his pup was buried. And with heavy heart, but smile on our face, we left the ground. And I thought to myself that there are people who offer help. There are people who stand by the voiceless. So I completely forgot that I was tired. I wanted to reach home. I was so happy that humanity is still intact. And I left to my place smiling. Thank you.
Very beautiful story, and we lived your scenes, and it felt we were with you in this journey, and I really loved the silent moments and rhythm in your telling. Thank you so much for sharing
Thank you
this.
Very touching story. It touched our
Thank
heart.
you so
Yes,
much.
very
very
bittersweet. Yes.
sad,
रूपाली
very, very
सेंटी कर
sad.
दिया तुमने यार, सेंटिमेंटल कर दिया।
Ah,
अब बहुत ज्यादा हो गया,
बहुत डरी थी मैं। Thank you.
बहुत ज्यादा सेंटिमेंटल किया
कभी
तुमने।
नहीं डरना, डरते नहीं है।
नहीं है बिल्कुल, so don't worry.
That's a true story.
That's a true story, and we could feel it in her voice that she is sad, and whatever she wanted to convey, those emotions could be really felt. Wonderful.
Well told,
Rupali.
well told.
Well told.
So our next teller of the day is Jenis.
right.
Over to
Oh,
you,
Rupali.
Jenis.
It's very unfair that you've left me in this bittersweet space before the story. It was a very beautiful share. Okay. Thank you for that
Dennis,
share.
मेरा तो सोचो,
Huh?
last है मेरा.
Oh God. Best of luck. I think you need it more than me.
Yeah, for all the people who came a little late, I would love to tell all of you that these stories are created, curated, crafted by the tellers. And they have taken all the efforts to put in detailing, to work on the stories, and especially Genesis' story, he's worked it from the scratch. So, over to you, Janice.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So today I'll share a story from long ago. You know the time when we didn't exist, the time when nature could talk a secret language of its own. In an enchanted forest, there lived a mother chameleon near a cliff. One night, when the moon was full and bright, she laid 2 eggs in her home, 10 trees away from the cliff. Many moons waned and waxed, appeared and disappeared from that night. And then one evening, when the mother was out hunting for food, winds of spring blew heavily. She ran, searching she ran towards her home, wondering if her babies would be safe. She ran and ran hurriedly. She ran across the forest, up the cliff, past the 10 trees to see one of the eggs missing. My baby, my baby. She surged around. The wind continued to roar, showed her no mercy. She realized that she should retreat back home to save of what's left for her. Meanwhile, the estrade egg carried by the wind rolled past the 10 trees, off the cliff, and landed on a grass cushion. Pop! The egg cracked open. A little something, you may say, a blob of brown, slowly made its way out of the eggshell. It pressed its eyes, extended its arm, and opened itself to the forest, dark and scary. Have you ever been lost as a kid in a place that was crowded and you were searching for your mother? It was worse than that. The little chameleon opened its eyes and looked around. The wind was making the leaves rustle and almost sing a haunting song. It scared the little baby chameleon. He looked to his left, he looked to his right, and then to the emptiness inside. Where is home? Where is mother? He cried. And as he was frantically looking around, his heart was pumping like drums heavy on tempo. And suddenly, something touched its body. The winds of spring blew again. It touched its tail, its body, its leg, to his nose. Something calmed the stormy night inside of him. The wind carried a familiar smell. He couldn't quite place a finger at it, but he said, "Does this how my home smells like?" He knew not what to do next. So he decided, maybe I should just follow this wind, follow this familiar smell. Maybe this invisible pull could take me home. Knowing nothing at all, he followed the wind. He, he walked miles and miles as the night, which was dark and grey, turned golden. With it rose sun. With sun came light. With light, the baby chameleon had sight. To the front of him was a tree, big, brown and green. And he looked up. All the leaves were singing and dancing. He looked at them and he went closer to them. All of them were singing, Ubuntu, Ubuntu, one for all. Ubuntu, Ubuntu, love for all. He looked at them transfixed and he wondered, if only I was as green as them, maybe I could just be with them and sing and dance and maybe have some company. As he said this, his skin started moving. Listening to him praying, his skin turned green as the grass. He looked at himself, wow, I am a leaf now. He climbed centimeter by centimeter up the trees and sat next to the leaves. The leaves looked at them and continued singing. All of them together sang in unison, Ubuntu, Ubuntu, one for all. Ubuntu, Ubuntu, love for all. The song, it was magical because the chameleon forgot about his quest, about his loneliness. But it was soon to be done. As the sky slowly changed its color again like clockwork, the golden became yellow to orange to blue, and the leaves slowly retreated back, closing their eyes to sleep. The silence caught the chameleon off guard. The silence was now playing the haunting song of emptiness and loneliness again. He looked to his left and he looked to his right and to the emptiness inside. He was feeling the same kind of scare as yesterday. And then again, as if by magic, the winds of spring blew again. He breathed them and the loneliness caught a cushion to sleep. I shall continue on my quest, he said. He started walking slowly, following the wind. And there in front of him was a cliff, tall and mighty. I don't know how to climb a cliff. I've never done it before. I wish I knew how to. He looked at this giant cliff in front of him. Suddenly, he heard noises of thousands of feet walking and marching. He looked a bit ahead and saw a bunch of caterpillars, yellow in color, marching shoulder to shoulder, singing up the cliff. He looked at them, he was like, wondered, wow, if I was as yellow as the caterpillars, maybe I would also have a shoulder and a hand to hold on as I would climb this cliff. And as he said this, his skin moved again, listening to him praying, and he was as yellow as the caterpillar. Delighted at the magic that was happening, he ran as fast as he could to catch up to the caterpillars and said, hey, can I hold your yellow hands in my yellow hands? The caterpillar smiled And they all started singing the song. Ubuntu, Ubuntu, one for all. Ubuntu, Ubuntu, love for all. Inch by inch, they climbed the mountain. The long, tall mountain gave up to the joy of company and family. The parade marched and marched till the day broke and the night rose. As they reached the cliff, the song faded as the caterpillars went to sleep. The loneliness caught the chameleon yet again. He looked to his left, he looked to his right, and the emptiness was still inside. Crippled, he felt the gravity at the top of the cliff was too much. 2 days, yet no homes of sign, no sign of home. The gravity was too hard to bear. And like clockwork, the winds of spring blew one more time. He inhaled and then his heart started beating fast like the night he first smelled it, but this time not in nervousness or anxiety, but in happiness. The smell felt much nearer than ever. Home is near, he said, his heart beating fast in excitement as if it would outrun its body to home. He suddenly, as if he attained God's speed, he started running, and he, tree by tree, he moved past almost 10 of them and looked at front of him was something much similar to him. A chameleon turned upside down as if scratching the sky. Help! Help! The little chameleon in front of him was crying for help. Ma! Ma! Help! Our chameleon went near to her. She said, don't hurt me, don't hurt me. Our chameleon said, I am not here to hurt you. May I help you? She said, no, don't. She was so afraid of our yellow chameleon. He said, I am just like you. She said, no, but you are so yellow. Help, Ma, help. The chameleon realized what was happening. He closed his eyes, and for the last time he wished, if only I could become myself again, could I help this little chameleon who's with her difficulty? And like magic, his skin moved again. And looking at him praying, the yellow that he borrowed from the caterpillars faded. He thanked them in his heart. The green popped up, the leaf green faded slowly. He thanked the leaf for their company. And then there was brown. When he let go of all that he picked up in his journey, he became himself. The distressed chameleon looked at her and she said, brother, is that you? Our chameleon crawled next to her, helped her get back on her feet. And during this while, he realized she smelled home. She could realize it too. She took him home, and the mother and the son was united. All three of them hugged. That night, the chameleon told his family the story about the leaf and the caterpillar. Years later, the chameleon still goes and visits the caterpillar and leaf, and they all laugh. They laugh at the time when the chameleon thought that he was a leaf or a caterpillar. He knew you were not a leaf, said the leaves, or a caterpillar, said the caterpillars. But it didn't matter to us, said both of them. The chameleon now goes as himself each time he meets the leaves or the caterpillar. He realized home is not a place that is 10 trees away the cliff. He realized when you let others arrive as themselves, you open a window for them to be truly become who they are. He realized I am because we are. Every fortnight, yellow or not, green or not, they all get together and sing the age-old song. Ubuntu, Ubuntu, one for all. Ubuntu, Ubuntu, love for all. Thank you.
So many beautiful moments we gathered through your story, and
Thank you.
I love the magic. And now I think it will arrive in every moment when we keep changing.
Yes.
It has just connected so deeply. Thank you so much for this story.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
Ubuntu,
so much.
Ubuntu, I
Love. Thank you,
Ubuntu.
Bharti.
10 seeds of morning glory.
Yeah.
मेरा शुरू
Super
होने
good,
वाला है,
Janice.
आप
Super
बोलिएगा.
good. Super good.
Thank you.
And so
Thank you.
poetic also.
Thank you so much.
Forget
It
those
suited
7
your
seeds.
personality very much. Very well said.
Thank you. Thank you, Rashmi.
And
When you
written also.
describe the alien changes the color, it's very, very beautiful.
Thank
Very
you. Thank you,
magic, and I
Rupali.
love the wish fulfilling concept that you brought in the
Yeah.
story, and the
Thank
journey
you.
towards home.
Thank you.
Nice, thank you. I think the story is going to stay. All the stories that came today is going to stay with me,
Beautiful story.
and thank you for sharing this story.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Janice.
Thank you. Thank you for this space.
So our next teller for the evening is Dr. Rashmi. Over to you, Dr. Rashmi.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Rashmi Tyagi, and it's my pleasure to be sharing with you today's story. And I want to tell you about one of my experiences. In my office one day, I received a very good invitation. I was very happy to get it. It was the invitation of Sports Day. And I and everyone I know, you love the Sports Day, whether you are participating or you are just enjoying to be one of the audiences. On time, I reached the venue, and it was a wonderful experience to be in the sports ground and with all fun and frolic, and the flags were flying here and there, and it was a beautiful environment. And in the pavilion, as all of you know, I'm going to take you to a pavilion that's Sports Day. And there we were having the parents at one place, then students at one place, and the teachers at one place. And there was one decorated table, which everybody wanted to have one something from the table. And you know what the players they get there. So it was a usual sports day. And everybody was very happy, and there were many events which took place, and all of us enjoyed. Now there was one event which was very special, and on the tracks we were having differently abled children. Some of them were in wheelchair, and some of them were having the braced legs. So it was different. But all of us felt so happy that these children, which are differently abled, they are going to participate in that. And the audience of all the children was cheering these, participants. And with the bang of the pistol, the race started in the usual way, and everybody was trying their best to reach the finishing line. But when everybody was trying all this, there was a cry. And because of that cry, everything became standstill. The music stopped, and all the cheering crowd, they were so quiet that you can even hear the murmur of the trees. Then what happened? Why it was like this? And even the participants, which were going to touch the finishing line and the ribbon, they just stopped with this cry. And instead of, running beyond the finishing line, they just turned back and looked at what has happened. To their surprise, one child, he had fallen down as they were differently abled, I have told you. So he could not keep pace and he slipped. Now you can imagine what happened. These people, these beautiful people, they were differently abled. They were not normal like us. They started running backwards on the tracks instead of going, you know, beyond the finishing line. They started coming back, and all of them came back near that participant and asked him what has happened, and all of them lifted him up, and then they all of them just held their hands together, and then they started walking together to the finishing line. And that way, they helped each other to walk together and do this race. They should finish or win the race together. I was telling this story to my granddaughter. She asked me that, what have you learned, Nanima, from this story? She asked me. I don't know why she asked me. Then I said that, see, all of us, we have to be together in the times of sorrows and joys. We have to be together, and especially during the pandemic time, our friends and all the teachers, all the people in the educational fraternity all over the world, we united together, the parents, the teachers, the grandparents, and the children. And we have come together, this way. I've got this from Russia. You can see the grandparents, mother, father, and the children. We all came together. So coming together, that is important. And this is what was shown by the teaching fraternity. And you know about this doll. All of you know that we can put all the dolls together in this. Okay, so we are all together inside this. And this doll, it has given me the message that we have to be together. And this is what it was, shown during this time. And I told my granddaughter, this is what I have learned from this, story. And that story is Ubuntu, which everybody has already told. So we can, think about it. And thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rashmi. You brought in so many elements to do with Ubuntu. You are, thinking lateral as always. And so many things are giving us the same message that during all times we have to be together as one. And we are all because of each other. We are here because of holding hands together during tough times, during happy times, and that makes us, I think, wonderful sharing and wonderful gift of the elements coming together to the theme. Thank you so much. And with this, we go to the last teller of the evening, Geeta Dalal. She has been really patient.
Ubuntu, we love you. Ubuntu.
Yes, we love you.
Rashmi ji, that was very nice. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
even the doll, the Russian dolls were beautiful.
Lovely, so many props.
That's quite dear to me because I'm a special educator,
Nice.
Okay. Thank you very much first for the opportunity, dear Gitanjali, and all my classmates. Now, this, what I'm sharing today, is a very personal story. And yes, I have permission to talk about it. So exactly 100 years and 1 hour after the birth of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru on the 14th of November 1989, I lay in the hospital and gave a loud shriek. "Ah!" And I pushed out a bouncy baby boy. And there was joy everywhere in the room because he was a healthy child. My husband, while climbing the stairs of the hospital, said, "Can we name him Vaibhav, which means glory?" And Buaji, sitting here, said yes, and that was it. She named him Vaibhav. Now, Vaibhav was the youngest of the Dalal clan of 32 people in this house, Dev Chaya, and everyone in the family adored him. They played with him, they cuddled him, and they also contributed to his upbringing. I had the opportunity of only looking after him when it was time for the meals because I was breastfeeding. Otherwise, he belonged to everyone. So each one of my Chacha Sasur and my Chachi Saas and his own Chachas and Buas and his sister, everyone was out to look after him. Fast forward a little bit. When he turned 3 months old, I braved a 36-hour train journey with him and my daughter Kruti to my hometown, Dhanbad. Rail Gadi. That was it. 36 hours. And when a journey is long, the train is always a few hours late. Finally, our station arrived. And the sounds, "Coolie, coolie, coolie, Maji main saman uthao, Maji main aapka saman le lu." Those were the sounds I could hear. And as I stepped out of the train with both my children, another big joint family was waiting at the platform. Okay, my dad, my chachaji, my chachi, my bhaiyas, my bhabhi, my cousins, their friends and my friends. And in a small town, it's all family. So, holidays were really good because everybody there also adored him. Fast forward a wee bit. दिन बीतते गए, हॉलिडेज में तो मजा चलती रही. The trouble started when I first gave him his external bottle of milk and his health took a dip. The more I tried to wean him from my breastfeed, the more I was giving external milk, and the worse his health was becoming. His breathing was getting erratic, and Vaibhav would gasp for breath. So the normal beat that went, for him it went. Medicines were given from various doctors, no improvement. My family and all the doctors there thought he was allergic to milk. But before that, the point came. He had been breastfeeding for so long, So he must be allergic to coal dust, as the town is full of collieries. And the family of 29, because 3 of us were in Dhanbad, back in Bombay, was so extremely worried, and everyone said, "Wapas aa jao, wapas aa jao. Bombay has better doctors, wapas aa jao." And this time, my journey was quick because I flew in an emergency. So no chuk chuk. Back to Mumbai, little fast forward. Mumbai did not help to improve his health, and neither did all the ghar ke nuskes which was given by my 5 mother-in-laws. Did I mention to you earlier that I lived in a big joint family where I had my Sasuji and I had 4 chachi sas? So ghar ke, so many members. So all the advice was being followed. All the experimenting was happening. And anything and everything that was told to me, suggested to me, was done, but to no avail. So the process started. This kadha, अडुसल के पत्तों का जूस, लहसुन की माला, अजवाइन का शेक, हल्दी का दूध, हल्दी अजवाइन एंड घी वाला दूध, and नजर उतारना, to no avail. Vaibhav's breathing would become still erratic and heavy, and when he was breathing like, it felt any moment the heartbeat would stop. The harrowing episodes of injecting him with vent PD injections every 12 hours to breathe normally were being given. Every few hours the effect would last, and then the process would start. Tuk 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 tuk, duk 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 duk, duk 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 duk, until it became duk 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 duk, and there came another injection. He was not lively anymore, and all the family members were told to keep away from him because we did not fathom what was the infection. Sara ghar pareshan. The round of doctors increased and the round of temples increased. Doctors के suggestions आते रहे, हम दिखाते रहे, पूजा पाठ होती रही, and मन्नत पे मन्नत मांगी जा रही थी, but nothing was happening. None of the family members could see him suffer, especially every blood test every 12 hours and an injection once again. There was hardly a specialist, a pediatrician in Santa Cruz, Parla, Andheri or Khar whom I had not visited with Vaibhav. And इसी तरह दिन बीतते गए. A little fast forward. Vaibhav had lost his pallor, his weight, his masti, and all my devars and nanans, and also all my nephews and nieces were restricted from coming close to him. No one had an answer what would help, and everyone was thinking, कहाँ गए वो दिन, मस्ती भरे दिन. One fine day, our friends, Meera Bhabhi and Dilip Bhai suggested I must see a doctor in Chowpatty. That was so far, far away. But she had excellent diagnostic skills, we were told. And we braved that journey with the sick baby. The moment Dr. Vitlani saw him and examined him, she said, "Stop all milk." Why? He is allergic to milk. Oh my God, is there something like that? I'm talking of 1989. All my five mother-in-laws would kill me if I told them this. I told the doctor that, and she gave me the ultimatum. If you want him to live, stop all milk, not just that, all the milk products also. No milk product? None, was the firm instruction. Back home, a family meeting was held, and I conveyed what was told to me by the doctor. We had to stop all milk and all milk products, and everyone gasped. What? Milk products? Milk? Is there something like that? My mother-in-law questioned me. How would a child grow up without milk? And I had to tell her, Mummy ji, it is not just milk, it's all milk products. Off the list would be milk, ghee, butter, dahi, chaas, mithai, cheese, chocolates, and the list went on and on. The little kids in the house asked me, Kaki, can he eat god papdi? No, dear. What about monthar? No, dear. Ghee god rotli to khai sakse? And the other little one said, Arre Baba, ghee rotli wadi nathi khawani. So how can there be ghee god rotli? And one little one said, that's okay, he can have shira every day. Because shira can be made without milk. And the others asked, what about ghee? And one person said, it's okay if Vaibhav Bhaiya doesn't have desi mithais, Bhaiya and I can have chocolates and cake. Oh God, how would we manage this in a house where everyone loved chocolates and cheese, where Swiss chocolates were the favorite, and my husband had a regular supply of them because he worked in a Swiss company. There were my devars and my nanans, my nieces and my nephews. How do we restrict everyone? I was still wondering when a big bomb fell on me. Shh. All the young ones came forward to me and said, Bhabhi, no one will eat chocolates in this house. Kaki, no chocolates will come in Dev Chaya till Vaibhav Bhaiya is allowed to eat them. Oh my God, what a sacrifice, I thought. Tears swelled in my eyes. That day, my family taught me the essence and the real meaning of Ubuntu. I am, because of you, a person is a person through other people. And I learned the real meaning of Hum Saath Saath Hai. Thank you.
What a beautiful story, and you took us through the family and through the journey, and thanks to your son who gave you this permission to tell his story.
Thank you.
And I like that voice of, breathing. That
Yeah,
was wonderful
effective,
effect, and even the train coming and going.
Train,
all these
yes.
effects are great.
So
Thank you
many
so
visuals, brought alive, and
Thank you so much.
wonderful. Thank you, Geeta, for the.
Thank you.
So I want to tell all of you that this is the second time that I'm choosing this theme Ubuntu, and the last time I chose this theme Ubuntu, we had Dr. Pooja Jain from that batch who shared a story in her batch, and it was also a wonderful, beautiful, soulful batch. So Dr. Pooja Jain is here. I had invited her. Hi,
Hello,
Doc.
everyone.
How are you feeling? And Pooja is a very integral part of Secret Passages. She's been with Secret Passages for 5 years. Her sister was also the batchmate. Archana, she's also there. So
Yeah.
Archana is a co-founder of Secret Passages. So they were invited to be a part of this show. Thank you so much, sisters, Bora sisters, for being here.
Thank you.
Absolutely
So much.
our pleasure. Thank you for inviting us and really enjoyed all the stories. And I especially connect to Mrs. Geeta Dalal's story because I must congratulate you. You said it so beautifully, so well.
Thank you so much.
Love the pace of the story and the sound effects and the way even the cute fast forward, with the pause, and it was all very well put
That is
together.
Gitanjali's teaching. Thank you very much.
I was saying I relate to your story because I am going through a similar thing with my son as well. I was going through. So yeah, I was pretty curious to know the doctor who you met.
Dr. Vitlani, Nirupin Vitlani.
Dr. McLean. Okay, right. Thank you.
We also have Priyanka Maheshwari over here, who was a batchmate of Jenis. So she's
Yes.
especially here to support, the telling, and she's from Secret Passages, batch number 51.
Wow.
I'm
I
so
hope
glad,
you do
so
well.
glad to be here. What a gift, what a treasure we had of personal stories, fictions, original stories, and remix versions. And as I always say, there's a little bit of Gitanjali in all of us. So I am because we are.
Yes.
Excellent.
Wow.
Lovely.
Beautifully said.
Good wishes to everyone. And I think it's the modesty of Gitanjali that, she just empowers everyone. It's like a chain reaction going on, and she's creating mini Gitanjalis everywhere. I love it. Thank you, everyone. Wonderful.
Yeah, and one very important thing is Pooja is a wonderful storyteller today, and her sister Archana is also a magical storyteller. And we have Priyanka, who's a good ting tong storyteller, and she's like made it. I'm really impressed by her performance in these moments of pandemic and the work that she's doing. So I wish all of you best from here, from now onwards.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Gitanjali. And all the very best to all of you.
All the very best, and you will all be added to the main Secret Passages group.
Yay.
So means we passed, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to stop the recording.